everybody, Skax here, and welcome to a preview and prediction of this weekend's Premier League games in match week 28. We've got 9 games over the course of this weekend and 1 game next week, which is Arsenal versus Manchester City again after the Carabao Cup final that happens tomorrow. Now, we'll be doing a separate preview for the Arsenal-Man City Carabao Cup final tomorrow. We'll be going out before the game starts, and I will be doing a review of the game and the match ratings like I do pretty much for all Arsenal games so far since the channel has launched. So we've got 7 games today, 2 games tomorrow, and the 1 game Arsenal versus Man City in a week. I won't be talking about the Arsenal-Man City Premier League game or the Carabao Cup final in this one, just the 9 Premier League games this weekend. So we've got a game starting in about an hour's time, Leicester at home to Stoke. So why don't we get underway with that and talk a bit preview wise and prediction for that at the King Power Stadium. So Leicester, I think, will win this game convincingly. I think Stoke are struggling. Even though Lambert has come in, he's instilled a bit more defensive stability into the team. They're a little bit harder to break down, but I do anticipate Leicester being able to break that down, and I don't see really Stoke posing too many problems after they don't really have many players. They only really have Shaqiri and Allen and a few other players here and there. They don't have the attacking prowess they normally always have done. They've had that out-and-out striker in their team to get them goals, and they don't have that anymore. Same as West Brom. We've seen it with them as well. When you don't have a proper striker who is banging in the goals, then you're not really going to be up there and challenging and getting out of the relegation zone. So that's why Stoke and West Brom are both struggling, in my opinion. Leicester, though, do have players up top who can score. I mean, you've got Vardy, Mahrez, to name a few. And I believe this will be 2-0. 2-0 Leicester. I think it'll be a comfortable home win for them after Stoke really sort of defending doggedly in the first half, and I don't think they'll be up to much in the second to try and get back in the game, and they won't have enough really, in my opinion, to get back in it. Bournemouth at home to Newcastle at the Vitality. That's one of the 3 kickoffs, and it's a tough one. It is a tough one to call because Bournemouth, I think, will want to get back to winning ways and get safe in the Premier League, as will Newcastle. But I think it might be a draw. I think it might be a 1-1 draw. This one is quite hard to predict. I don't really know which way it could go. Could be a high scoring draw with both teams not wanting to drop any points. Newcastle will be defensive, try and hit Bournemouth on the counter-attack. I think Bournemouth will be the team with the most possession and everything in the game. 1-1 is my prediction in that one. Will be a tight affair, that. Brighton at home to Swansea. Another game that could go either way. Hopefully, in my preference, Swansea win it because I'm a big Swansea fan behind Arsenal. They are my second team, and I really do hope that Swansea can get a few more wins and get Premier League safety and hopefully push on next season and get back to the team I know they are, and everyone sort of knows they are. They've just been, the last 2 seasons, struggling for survival when they've got a good team. They've got a good team, but they just need a few more players in and they'll be a great team. So, I don't know. Brighton are playing not half bad lately. They have been playing a few good games, so it will be a tough one. And Brighton are scoring a few goals, which they weren't doing at the start of the season. They're getting quite a few goals in each game they're playing. So, will be a tough one for Swansea. Hopefully they do win it. I'll be optimistic. I'll give Swansea a 2-1 win for my prediction. Maybe that will happen, maybe that won't. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens there. Burnley at home to Southampton. I think Burnley will get the win here. Southampton, not too great at the moment. They are fairly low down in the table. Burnley are quite a formidable force at home at Turf Moor, so I think it'll be very hard to break down. Pretty much play counter-attacking football and really try and give Southampton a really good run at the game, and I don't think Southampton will have enough. I do not think they will. So Burnley 1-0 win. 1-0 win is my prediction there for Burnley. Liverpool at home to West Ham. Earlier in the season you would have thought 4-0, 5-0. I don't think it's going to be that way because West Ham and Moyes is a defensive manager, so he's going to really set them up defensively to try and hurt Liverpool on the counter. I can't see them winning the game. If I'm being at all honest with you guys, I cannot see them in a position where they're going to win this football match. So I think it'll be a very tight game. I do think Liverpool will win it, but they'll have to stay and persevere for a lot of the match, because West Ham, as I said, they'll come with a very defensive setup and trying to get on the counter-attack. So I predict 3-1 Liverpool, but I think it will be a very hard-fought 3-1. They'll be pushed. They'll be pushed to right at the limit. Maybe even West Ham will take the lead, and Liverpool will have to come back into it later in the game. West Brom versus Huddersfield, probably the worst game of the weekend, and I can't really see West Brom getting a win in this game. Huddersfield are playing better than they were earlier in the season. They played pretty well against Manchester United, but just couldn't get anything going up top, and I think they'll have a lot more success against West Brom. I mean, Pardew, I feel so sorry for him. He never should have took the job. It's just been like bad news after bad news for West Brom, and for Pardew in particular since he joined them. I feel really sorry for him. He never should have took the job, and I can't really see. I mean, can you really see West Brom getting out of this relegation battle at the moment? I really cannot with the strikers they have. So 2-1 Huddersfield is my prediction there. It'll be very tight and very scrappy game, I think, but Huddersfield will probably just edge that. Watford at home to Everton. Now, this is another very interesting one, because Everton are kind of up and down at the moment. I mean, so are Watford. But ever since Watford have brought in this new manager, he's tried to focus on stability in the team and not to be consistent, basically, and not just be like up and down, which Everton have been. So this is another game that could go either way. It really could, and I do believe Watford will win this game. I think they'll edge it, and it'll be a very tight game. I say 3-2 because I think both teams are going to go for this. I'm thinking 3-2 Watford. It'll be a very entertaining game, and it should really finish off today's action with a bang. Hopefully it's not a 0-0 draw now I've said that. But moving on into Sunday's game, apart from the Carabao Cup final, we have Crystal Palace versus Spurs, so a London clash there at Selhurst Park. So 12 o'clock kickoff in that one. That's the early kickoff. That'll be quite a feisty game. I think Hodgson will get them really fired up for that one, and Spurs will not have it all their own way. I think Spurs will probably edge the game. They probably will win it, but they won't have the game how they want it. I think Crystal Palace will really try and get in their face, or I hope they do, because you can't do this to Tottenham. You can't just let them do whatever they want. You really got to get in their face. Like the same with Arsenal. You really got to get in Arsenal's face and put pressure on them to fail, really. And that's what a lot of teams do to Arsenal now, and they really do a good job at doing it. So Spurs probably will edge the game. 2-1 Spurs. I do think it'll be a tight one. Crystal Palace hopefully will push them all the way, and Spurs will edge the game. Maybe Son, maybe Kane with a goal as well. The next kickoff and the last Premier League game of this weekend is Manchester United versus Chelsea. Now, without a doubt, best game of the weekend, but you know what's going to happen. Both teams are going to be defensive. They're not going to want to lose this game. Manchester United have a history under Jose Mourinho of being a very defensive team and playing on the counter-attack. So he's going to want to frustrate Conte. He's going to want to put 10 men behind the ball and like counter with pace. So Chelsea may do the same thing, and it may be a very boring game, because if Chelsea sit back and do the same thing, try and do counter-attacking, we might have a 0-0. I'm serious. We might have a 0-0 in this game, because you know what Mourinho is going to do. He always does this against the big teams. He always sits back. He never tells his teams to go on the front foot. So it will be either a very poor game with hardly any chances if Chelsea decide to go defensive as well and hit on the counter, or if Chelsea decide to attack, I think it'll be a much more open game and could see a scoreline like 3-3, 2-2 or something like that. Prediction is very hard to give on this one because it could go either way, as I've said. So my prediction is quite a safe one. I'm going to go 2-2. I think, or I hope, that Chelsea are going to come out to attack, and it's going to force Man United to come out as well. I really do hope we get an early goal for Chelsea in this game. And I know that sounds bad as an Arsenal fan, saying that I want Chelsea to get a goal, but it's got to spark some life into this one. I think if an early goal is not scored by Chelsea, it'll be a very dull game, and it'll be mostly instigated by Mourinho. And I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say about Mourinho. I don't agree with most of his decisions. Defence likes to play defensive football, but it's what gets him success. It's what he wins by doing, just sitting all out defence and going counter-attacking football. It's not pretty to watch, it's not entertaining, but it wins competitions. So maybe Arsenal should take a leaf out of or a page out of Mourinho's book by being a bit more defensive instead of just gung-ho all-out attack, and that is why we are where we are in the league and why we lose so many games. But that is it. That is it for my predictions and my preview to this Barclays Premier League weekend, matchday 28. As I said, I will have a preview of the Carabao Cup final going out early tomorrow before the game starts, and hopefully we win. Hopefully, I am praying that we do win, but honestly guys, I can't see it. I can't see us overturning a Manchester City team who are going to be basically chomping at the bit trying to beat us in this game after their loss in the FA Cup to Wigan. So I think they'll come out all guns blazing, and hopefully so will we, because we are the Gunners, and hopefully we do give them a game and not just let them steamroller us. And yeah, that is it for this episode of the Barclays Premier League preview. Hopefully you guys do enjoy the video, and leave a like if you did. Hopefully I get some of the predictions correct as well. Have a good weekend guys, and I will be back very soon tomorrow with my preview for the Carabao Cup final, Arsenal against Manchester City. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Skax, you guys have been awesome, and I'll catch you very soon with another video.